an open letter to all who support the growth of American democracy. Senator Chuck Schumer, Minority Leader, United States Senate. Senator Bernie Sanders, Presidential Candidate in 2016. Senator Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator from Massachusetts. Representative Nancy Pelosi, Minority Leader in the House of Representatives. Representative Joseph P. Kennedy III, Representative from Massachusetts. The Democratic National Committee, Voto Latino. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Michael Moore, filmmaker. Bill Maher, TV personality. Jim Hightower, radio personality. And to all who support the growth and expansion of American democracy. Seize legislative power, abolish the Electoral College, and pass single-payer health care in a Democratic Congress of 2018. The dismal failure of American democracy in the election of 2016 was due to the decrepit institution known as the Electoral College. How can we pretend to be an example for the world when we award the presidency to a candidate who is now over 2.5 million votes behind? How can we pretend that we believe in and support an authentic American democracy when the concept of majority rule is ignored and cast aside? The Electoral College was created in the earliest days of the American Republic. In that time and place, democracy was viewed with fear and suspicion. Only 1 out of 6 rich and powerful adult white males were allowed to vote. And that voting extended only to the matter of choosing the wisest electors from the state, who in turn would meet and have a free hand to vote for the President of the United States. It is incredible that in 2016, we still have that antiquated Electoral College. It functions a bit differently today, but Trump's constituency loves the fact that it still has the practical effect of placing severe curbs on the vote of the people. For example, in the election of 2000, the Democratic candidate, Al Gore, won roughly 500,000 more votes than the Republican candidate, George W. Bush. But with an assist from the Supreme Court, Bush obtained the required electoral count and became the 43rd U.S. president. Vote counting is still in process in the election of 2016. At this juncture, Hillary Clinton is over 2.5 million votes ahead. But this incredible victory is nullified because Trump quickly surpassed the magic number of 270 electoral votes and will be sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. Combine the anti-democratic results of the Bush and Trump elections with the fact that in the elections of 1876 and 1888, electoral applications gave Republicans Rutherford B. Hayes and Benjamin Harrison the presidency over vote-winning Democrats Samuel J. Tilden and Grover Cleveland, respectively. Can a 21st century patriot review the history of our elections and honestly favor retention of the Electoral College as a higher priority than promotion and expansion of American democracy? Angry Clinton voters are alienated by the electoral farce of 2016. But there is much more. Frightened Jews, American Muslims, Mexican Americans, and African Americans are worrying about what might happen to them in Trump world. Women are worried about what might happen to Roe versus Wade. The elderly are worried about privatization of Social Security and Medicare. Others are asking about presidential issues related to conflict of interest, or the perceived inability of Trump to understand or manage global thermonuclear and environmental issues. And preliminary indications are that numerous legal battles are about to dominate Trump's time in office. Democrats can take back power from President Trump in the election of 2018, at least in the area of domestic politics. To do so, they must produce a record turnout. If they are able to obtain a working two-thirds majority in both the House and the Senate, Democrats could immediately abolish the Electoral College and pass single-payer health care and other legislation without Trump's signature. Democrats should simply do what the Republican Party did when faced with hopeless odds after the Roosevelt and Truman victory in 1944. In the election of 1944, Roosevelt and Truman were elected with comfortable margins of 57 seats in the Senate and 243 to 190 seats in the House. Republicans were angered, not only because this was FDR's fourth term, but also that after FDR's death on April 12, 1945, the presidency was in the hands of another Democrat, Harry S. Truman. In the midterm elections of 1946, Republicans gained control of the 80th Congress with a slim Republican majority of 51 seats in the Senate and a substantial majority of 246 to 188 seats in the House. This new Republican Congress quickly developed a working coalition with Southern Democrats, and on March 21, 1947, they obtained a stunning two-thirds majority for the passage of the 22nd Amendment. Before the end of the Truman administration, the amendment had been ratified by 3/4 of the states, and from that point forward, future presidents were limited to 2 terms. The Republican 80th Congress also passed the Taft-Hartley Act, which President Truman called a union-busting bill. He wanted to veto it, but since it was passed with a 2/3 majority, it became law without his signature. So the Republicans have already accomplished what many Democrats believe cannot possibly be done in the election that is just 2 years away. If Republicans could seize power from President Truman With a working two-thirds majority, Democrats should be able to seize power from President Trump with the same result. If Republicans could muster the passage of a constitutional amendment limiting presidential terms 2 years after the election of Roosevelt and Truman, Democrats should be able to muster the passage of a constitutional amendment abolishing the Electoral College 2 years after the election of Trump. And with a working two-thirds majority, Democrats could pass single-payer health care without Trump's approval or signature. It is preeminently the time to turn democratic passion into effective action. Democrats must begin now with a full-throated push for power in 2018. It won't be easy to flip the 114th Congress to a working two-thirds Democratic majority. But no Democrat should ever say that it can't be done. Remember, we are currently running 2.5 million votes ahead.